And this is where the story comes into play. So with my past employer, one of the managers I had there at the time was sharing at a sales launch. All of these, there were 6 different points that they were sharing in this particular sales launch. And of course, I resonated with a lot of them, but this one definitely stuck. And they shared about the acts of kindness, random acts of kindness. And he shared a story that to this day has stuck with me. So it was an older gentleman, and that he would have pennies in his pocket. And so every morning he would start off with putting 5 pennies into his left pocket. And every time that he performed an act of kindness, he would move one of those pennies over to his right pocket. And his goal was, by the end of the day, to have all 5 pennies moved to his right pocket. Now, I loved the story. I also am a huge supporter of structural reminders, and those pennies served as a structural reminder for him. It allowed him to know exactly how many random acts of kindness he has to go for the day, and just in general to be able to do them by going into his pocket and feeling those pennies, right? It was almost like a bit of a reward system too. I get to move a penny over when I do a random act of kindness. So I was so eager to actually start this. So for those of you that aren't in Canada, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but we actually don't have pennies in circulation anymore. So when he shared this story, pennies were a bit of a hot commodity. They were harder to get. It wasn't that much longer after the discontinuation of them, so we still had them around. So I was definitely able to find the 5 pennies. However, I kept losing those things. You know, I would work out during my lunch hour, so I'm sure that that was a contributing factor because, you know, take off my pants, put on my workout clothes, a penny here, a penny there. And it got to a point that I was probably making more of an effort to find pennies to replace than I was about the random acts of kindness. So I was like, this is not working. But I love the idea of the structural reminder. So I needed to create a structural reminder that would better work for my world and to stop losing the pennies. And so this is where I came up with the idea of making a bracelet for myself. And I was able to find 5 pewter feathers that I put on this bracelet. And every time that I performed an act of kindness, I would move that feather over. By the end of the day, the goal was to be able to have all 5 feathers moved over, which means that I accomplished getting 5 random acts of kindness done. The key to the actual activity on its own is about creating more intention with your act of kindness. Now, when I say more intention, it doesn't mean that it needs to be elaborate or bigger or better. It's the idea of you just being more cognizant, being aware that you are actually performing some kindness, a good deed. And it's allowing you to be fully present in that moment. How many times have you held a door for someone, but totally wasn't present with the moment? You were probably, on your cell phone, just holding the door until they walked through. They may have said thank you, they may not have. You may not have even acknowledged or knew or heard it. The concept with this is being intentional so that when you do hold that door open, you are fully in that moment. You understand the environment, you're hearing things, you're seeing things. If somebody's acknowledging it, you have the opportunity to also respond back.